How's it going, everyone? Data here, and welcome back to the Seattle Kraken franchise mode, episode number 33, here in the second half of the 2028-29 regular season. Before I get started, just a huge hello to any new viewers out there. The last couple episodes of the Seattle Kraken franchise mode have gotten about double the normal views as normal, both with over 1,000 views in the last few days. So if you're a new subscriber or a new viewer, welcome. We are very happy to have you here in the Assistant GM booth, and we have a fun time here on the channel in these series. So very happy to see you joining in on the fun, and I hope that you'll join in the comments section or even on the Discord server where we can talk some more about the ongoing series and everything else, because there is no series without all of you. So, in the last one, we stopped at the halfway point of this season. Through 41 games, Nathan MacKinnon is on pace for 122 points. He is our rock. He is Nate the Great. He is a monster, by far the points leader on the team. Isaiah Marco at 44 in 41, 40 in 41 for Beniers, and down the list we go after that. So the team has not been bad at all, but it's obviously Nathan MacKinnon's world and we're just living in it. Goalies have been okay, not horrible at all, but they've been okay. Serviceable NHL goaltending, above 900 save percentage, below 3 goals against average. That's what you look for. I'd like it to be, that next level, but hopefully we can continue to give that as our defense gets better. The biggest thoughts in the last one were, do we consider any changes as we get closer to the trade deadline and head into the playoffs, where we will be fighting for a 4th Stanley Cup in 5 years? So the lineup is pretty solid. We do have a scratch in Vince Sloan. We do have an injury in Calle Lundberg. The defense is quite busy right now. There's a logjam of NHL caliber prospects who are out there. Ramses thinks that one of our defensemen needs to go. He's been impressed with Tiny Morrison after an okay preseason, and he likes Kobasu's X factors down in the AHL. I know Lundberg hasn't really had a chance to show what he can do due to injury. I think either Evans or Lundberg should be the most likely to go. Evans maybe because we have guys with higher potential, and Lundberg because other guys have filled the position well. I do really want Lundberg to prove me wrong, though, because his X factors are good too. So Calle Lundberg only got to play in 9 games before getting injured, no points, a plus-minus of 3, logging 11.44 in ice time per night. He has a top 4 D potential. When he comes back from injury, which is within the next week, I believe, I think I'll give him a conditioning stint down in the AHL. If he does well down there, no waivers, that's good, we'll consider calling him back up. If he just does normal, then maybe we'll just keep him there for the duration of the season, for the remainder of the season, excuse me, because we can already play him with Braden Kobasu. He has 27 points. He is already listed as a top 6 D-man, so it hurts not playing him. He has X factors. He has 90 shot blocking, 90 stick checking. Wouldn't be a bad idea to play him in the NHL. It's just that Evans and Tiny Morrison have been very good. And Tiny Morrison, with that medium league potential, we got to try and squeeze it out of him. But he's 22, Kobasu's 22. It's a difficult time right now for that logjam of NHL caliber defensive prospects. We were also considering some players on the trade blocks, one of those being Thomas Hertl. Hertl would be an interesting addition to the team, says Vinny, for a temporary player. Although you said that we need to clear some cap space, so I don't know who could be moved in order to do that besides Sprong. But you just signed him, so that would not make much sense, but I'll let you decide what's best for the team GM data. Thank you for that, Vinny. So Daniel Sprong is a potential candidate for being traded, but we signed him to a 1-year deal. We expect him to play that 1 year. And although his numbers have not been fantastic, looking at him right now, 13 goals, 13 assists, not horrible, but at the beginning of the season they were pretty rough. Bad enough that Nolan thought for a deadline deal, Sprong has been a let down. Then he has an inside scoop on some of his locker room antics, so keep that in mind as a potential storyline between the Kraken and Daniel Sprong, but he has been delivering on the ice. Hertl can slot right into Sprong's spot, so offer Sprong and Blatter, one of our goalie prospects, and see what happens for Thomas Hertl. Now, I went back and I did the analytics here. I went and did a little deep dive on the points on a little sheet of paper here. So Daniel Sprong, in his first 10 games of the season, he had 3 points. That put him on pace for a 25-point season. But in the next 13 games after that, he scored 9 points, which would have been at a pace of 57 points in an 82-game season. And then in the 18 games after that, he scored 14 points, which would be a pace of a 64-point season. So now through 41 games, he has 26 points, which is a pace of 52 points. But considering that the last 13 and 18 games have been paces of mid 50s to low 60 points, he could very well finish in the mid 50s to low 60s, as opposed to just getting the 52 that he would be on pace for right now because of that slow start. So I'm inclined to keep Daniel Sprong for the moment, at least until closer to the deadline, and we'll see what comes closer to there. He's enjoyed his time on the third line. He's been doing better with Popov and Tarasenko than with Beniers and Moss, so Asher Maloney up there on the second line, no problem, everybody's happy. Aiden agrees as well on the Thomas Hertl train, saying that he could be a rental and could help the team and even replace Tuck if he asks for less money. Depends on what we do with Alex Tuck. Bladder plus a pick for him would be something to look into. Great video, excited to see the rest of the season. So am I, Aiden. So, and then building again on the Alex Tuck idea, now Patrick says we should definitely extend Tuck. Yes, get Malik for another 2 years, and I would love Tarasenko for 85% on the 2-year asking price. We should be able to keep him around until retirement. I also like the idea of keeping Ethan Bear, an 86 overall defenseman, will get very expensive very quickly in this game, that's for sure. So take them at the 6 to 8 million every chance you can. And now finishing off with Pat over on the Discord server, who says Chris Moss is a beast. He deserves the silver badge for getting his team motivated when he scores. In the storyline, he has earned it. If he gets 40 goals, I would add a gold zone ability at season's end. I would also send Kalle Lundberg down. Don't mess with success. For a deadline deal, here's another name we've been looking at. I would go all in and get Crosby. He's on Minnesota's block, with Minnesota retaining at least 40%. Suddenly, that next year in his contract, if we have him at 40 or 50% retained, is under $2 million if he doesn't retire. Just stick him fourth line center and on the power play, let him teach Pasi Lume. You have an embarrassment of NHL-ready prospect riches. I would trade 1 or 2 of them to make Crosby on a retained deal happen. Lundberg and this year's second for Crosby under $2 million? Who says no? I'm also dreaming of Moss and Crosby on the power play, fourth line, first line power play for Crosby. Try to get him to 2K points and another cup or 2. So that's extremely tempting because Thomas Hertl over on the San Jose Sharks would in theory be the best thing for this team. The San Jose Sharks are failing right now. He would be a second line left wing. He supposedly fits our second line according to the scout as well. Right there, forward line 2. He's on an expiring deal. It's only $3.8 million as well, and he is just a solid player. 5-star shooting, 91 offensive awareness. He's great with his X factors. However, if we were to take him on, now we're over the salary cap. We got to clear some money out. Could we get him retained? That's also a possibility, but he would be gone after this season. The Minnesota Wild, on the other hand, also a fringe team. They're just at 500. They have Sidney Crosby, who has much more trade value, and if we get him retained, would be the answer to our fourth line center for next season at, let's say, a $1.5 million cap hit. He has 17 goals and 24 assists on the season. He is. I don't need to talk up Sidney Crosby. If he's at fully 50% retained, 1.375. It looks like we can do it. 0.133 available. Let me see what happens if I throw just a draft pick back the other way. Would the computer let this happen just for fun? No, we'd be over the salary cap, even though it says that in theory we could. So with 1.375 retained, suddenly Sidney Crosby is right now and potentially next year on a deal of 1.375, right? 50%. Not a bad deal at all. While Thomas Hertl would probably be closer to 1.7-ish? Not a huge difference, but when we're talking about being over the salary cap, those hundredths of thousands, the few hundred thousand make a difference. So if we were to send someone back the other way, say Kalle Lundberg at 0.975, it's still not quite, we're just over, eh? I'm not sure how it works with the one-way, the two-way in NHL. It's not exactly like the real world. It would have to be Lundberg and probably Sloan. It has to be money in the NHL, right? If we go Lundberg and Sloan, then they have over 45 skated about just Sloan. Now, still over the salary cap. By what? By $10,000? Rough. But in theory, maybe we send them Rayala, because now we no longer need Rayala there if we have a new depth, if we have another forward added to the fold here. Minnesota have more than 40 skaters, so I have to take somebody back, but then now I can't take anybody back. That's the thing. I think maybe someone down in their AHL system. Like in theory, this guy in an AHL, yes, that would be league approved. So someone in the AHL could happen. Hey, Sammy Blais, there he is. Samuel Blais, there he is. Sammy Blais, 3 goals, 23 assists down in the AHL. While the mighty have fallen, eh? So Sammy Blais and Sidney Crosby. Now we can take them for Sloan Rayala, and we throw in picks or prospects. But the thing is, now it's the trade value. We've made the money work. Now the trade value is difficult because Crosby has a lot of value, even though he's a 40-year-old veteran. So we throw in Bladder. Now they have more than 50 players, so it can't be a prospect who's signed. It has to be someone unsigned. And I don't want to give up any of these big names up here. It has to be one of our lower names, one of our low elite prospects, perhaps. We do have a lot of defensemen here, so maybe the 54 overall low elite is the lowest of them for a defenseman. So we throw in this guy Wilson. And we're still not quite there, but let's just say if we offered it, it's not very interesting to Minnesota. And let's say we throw in a 3rd round pick maybe, and even this, like Vince Sloan, I'm hesitant to give up on him. And Rayala, he's been a 13th forward, he's been okay, but has he really been? He had a good preseason, but -7, 3 points in 24 games, former 7th round pick, we gave some life to him. Great puck skills, good shooting, but defense is not great. A centerman with 71 faceoffs. He's a replaceable guy, I think. Wilson, he is Jackson Wilson, a 7th round pick who had low elite potential, so it was a nice surprise for us. Throw in a 3rd round pick to Minnesota. This would probably go through. Could we do the same thing for less value with Thomas Hertl? Yes, but then there's the salary cap issue as well. This we're barely scraping by. So that's why Hertl just isn't a possibility, unfortunately, even though it would be a great, great pickup. Maybe if I can change Wilson, I prefer to keep Wilson, actually. He looks pretty okay. His stats in the U.S. system wasn't bad. Maybe one of our other low elites, maybe a defensive defenseman, Emelin here. Or maybe even Appleby, 57 overall at 19 years of age, Justin Appleby, also an offensive defenseman. Only 8 points in 33 games as a 19-year-old, though. 6th round pick. Okay, so let's throw in Appleby. It's even a little more value than Wilson. Let's see what Minnesota would say to this now. Trade rejected isn't very interesting, even with a 3rd round pick. That's the thing. Do I want to take Crosby? Then they're not going to. Do they want to retain salary? It might cost us a 2nd round pick in the end. So let's use our 2nd, because we have Philadelphia's 2nd as well. So we use our 2nd round pick to Minnesota. It's just not interesting. If I throw in a 4th, are we getting any closer? Isn't up to snuff at all. So that's pretty crazy, actually. Could try a 3rd round pick next year. A 2nd, a 3rd, Sloan, Rayala, and Appleby. Still on the... Okay, so they would accept this, but not with the salary being retained. They have so much salary space, though. They have so much cap space available. I have no cap space here. I'm giving you good picks and good prospects. I can up it to a 2nd next year, but I'm not moving into firsts. So I can give you 2 2nd round picks. It's already a lot. For a solid 4th liner and some power play minutes... This is a lot to pay right now. Trade rejected. I can't do it, guys. I cannot do it. Sloan, Rayala, Appleby. 2 of those with low elite potential. And 2 2nd round picks for 40-year-old Sidney Crosby. Maybe half a season if he doesn't retire. A 4th line center plus some power play. Can't do it. Cannot do it. I'm sorry. I tried to make it happen. We'll just have to continue as is for now. We've been doing quite well. We're 6-3-1 in our last 10. We're ready to keep on simulating into the 2nd half now of 2029-30. January 11th, 2029 at Canadian Tire Center. Let's do it. Kicking off the 2nd half of this 8th season. Here we go. First period, 2-0 Ottawa early. Peyton Wilm letting in 2 on 10. Brady Tkachuk and Tim Stützle. 2nd period, yikes. 5-1. Connor Hellebuck in nets, lets in 1 on 29. Wilm lets in 5 on 21. Batherson, Johnston, and Jake Sanderson. Beniers scoring for us. We're down by 4. Early power play opportunities killed off by Ottawa. Let's just call it a day. 6-1. That's an absolute beatdown. Absolute beatdown. I don't know what it is. I've not been super impressed with this team this season. Like, it's a great team. We're high in the Pacific Division. McKinnon's been amazing. But have I really been blown away by this team? No, not really. I have not. Hopefully the calendar sim can give us a larger sample size here as we move in deeper into the month of January. Let's go see the Anaheim Ducks for a 2nd round rematch from last year in a couple of weeks' time. Lundberg should be back any day now. Cole Kelly pulled groin, goalie in the AHL. Good to go right there. We beat the Capitals 3-2. We're in Pittsburgh and beat them 6-5 in a shootout. Another tight game, though. These are tight one-goal games. 4-3 win against the Wild. Our last last 4 wins have come by 1 goal. Kalle Lundberg is back. I'm going to send him down to the AHL to give him some conditioning. So let me fix up the lines down there. All right, that's all done. And thankfully, I was also reminded by stopping the page, the simulation here. We got to offer those some of those contract extensions. 4-1 loss against the Detroit Red Wings. We're 29-15-2, looking for win number 30. Currently atop the Pacific Division. Looking at the expiring deals here, Alex Tuch, we could get him. Ooh, actually, has it gone down even more? I think it may have, or am I just hallucinating here? But he's down for whether it's 1, 2, 3, or 4 years at 7.650. I'd be down to do 2 years on Alex Tuch. 89 overall we can get at something like 6.5 or so 6.525. 2 years at just about 1.4 million more, as he went from an 86 or an 87 up to an 89. I can do that. He'll be 34 years old at the end of the contract, not into 35s, 36s, or anything like that. We can think about another contract later on, but 2 more years at about 13 million. I can do that for Alex Tuch. Ethan Bear now, if he's going to continue being one of our top guys, he wants 7.65 for 4 years, which would bring him to 35 years of age. Same deal for him, where it would be about 6.5 million for 4 years of Ethan Bear. It's costly, but that's what defensemen cost in the future. That's the thing. Vitaly Popov, as his demands come down, he still wants crazy money for what he's shown. Vladimir Tarasenko, we could get him cheaper for a couple of years. Even actually, his 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, his demand is the same from 1 to 8 years. So I'm down to just do 1 year at a time on Vladimir Tarasenko. 2.275 for 1 year on Vlad. We take a $5 million discount on him. His demand may drop even more, but I don't want to risk it. I don't want to be cheap. I just want to be honest and realistic. He's doing well right now. He's 30, just turned 37 last month. He's in a third-line role now for us. We gave him just over $2.25 million. I think that's okay. He's currently making 7.425. Now he's going down to the 2s. It's a hometown discount for where he's been for the last, 8 years we said. So I think that's fair. For the other defensemen, another one, we got to wait and see on those contracts. But if we could get Tuch and Tarasenko, that would give us a better picture of how much money we have to play with when it comes to guys like Ethan Bear. Next game here against the Nashville Predators, looking for win number 30 at home at Climate Pledge Arena. It's a 3-2 shootout loss. It's going 1 day at a time here to wait, and it was an easy decision from the captain to renew my contract. 1 more year for the captain, at the very least, unless he retires. I've always wanted to play with a top-ranked team, so I'm very happy. Oh, yeah, we're so happy to have you. This top-ranked team, you'll do great here. Oh, by the way, have you forgotten that you're the captain with 4 Stanley Cup rings? But it's always been a dream to play on a top team like this. And Alex Tuch, easy decision. Okay. Very, very nice. Good deals. And a 6-0 shutout to celebrate. Win number 30s. We shut out the Calgary Flames. So now when it comes down to the extension dollar, something that we were very worried about at the start of the year is becoming a little bit more clear, as, Tuch isn't taking $12 million anymore like he was originally asking for. He would, we have $20 million to play with. If we have 20.025 and we give Ethan Bear, 6.055 or something, that leaves us with 13.97. Let's say Popov takes something like, let's give him 6.75. That would leave us with 7.22 million to get our depth taken care of, which I think is a very good place to be. We can't forget, actually, Malik. We need to get him as well as our future backup goalie. If we give him another couple, that would be great. Another couple years at 900K, even a little boost. 2 years, 900K, bang, that would be amazing. Okay, so things are coming together for GM Data and Company. We'll keep on simulating with those taken care of for the moment. I'll revisit Ethan Bear closer to the deadline. Don't want to wait too long since he's a UFA, but I do want to wait a little bit. Going through this game against the St. Louis Blues, then we'll take on the Anaheim Ducks in a huge rematch. Easy decision from Nick Malik to resign. Very nice. 2-1 loss there. We are 30-16-3, taking on the 24-21-4 Anaheim Ducks, who eliminated us and went on to win the Stanley Cup last season in round number 2 of the Western semifinals. Let's do it in Anaheim. A lot of old memories, some bad blood. First period, 2-1 Kraken. McKinnon opens it up. Pierre-Olivier Joseph ties it up just a couple minutes after that. But then the newly re-signed captain, Vladimir Tarasenko, puts us back up by 1. Second period, 3-3 game. JT Comfort ties it up. Chris Moss puts us ahead just 40 seconds later, but then Dumais ties it once more. Shots 25-24 in our favor. It's a 3-3 game, but Isaiah Marco quickly puts us up just 19 seconds in, 4-3 Kraken. 5-on-3 power play for the Ducks, killed off by the Kraken Pony Killers, and Daniel Sprong makes it 5-3. 2-goal lead for the Kraken. Now power play Anaheim. Hirima brings them back within 1. Shots 34-31 Kraken. It's a 1-goal lead with under 5 minutes to go. The fans are going wild in Anaheim. Power play late for the Kraken, and it will end with a 5-4 victory. Daniel Sprung getting the game-winning goal. 3 stars in this one. Marco, one goal, 1 assist, and no other Kraken. That's all right, as we take the regulation victory. Once again, though, by 1 goal. So these have been some scary, scary games. And last year, we had a lot of 1-goal victories, and it didn't work out for us in the playoffs. You know, I don't want to see more of that. I'd like to distance ourselves a little bit in the scoring. Let's go see Anaheim again in a week and a half. Now we'll be back at home for this one, so let's see if they can recharge the batteries and get their revenge. So a 5-3 win against the Coyotes in Arizona, then a 3-0 shutout victory against the Minnesota Wild. Very, very nice. We're 33-16-3, now taking on the Ducks once again, but this time at home. We're getting closer to the trade deadline. Maybe with Lundberg sent down, we have more cap space. We can check that out. But here we go. First period, 3-1. I love that little pause before it shows you how many goals have been scored, because you know that it was a high-scoring affair. 4 goals in that period. McKinnon on the power play. Comtois ties it up, but then Tarasenko and Lume getting us back ahead. Lume with 7 seconds left as well. 3-1 after 20. Second period, 5-3. Bluger for the Ducks. Alex Tuck on that new extension for us. Teravainen, 1 more, but then Riker Evans. There you go, number 1. 5-3 Kraken after 40. It's a 2-goal lead heading into this third period, but Pierre-Olivier Joseph brings it within 1, and Hirima ties it up just 37 seconds after that. We have a 5-5 hockey game halfway through this period. Power play Anaheim killed off. Power play Seattle killed off. Shots are pretty even, 29-26 for Seattle. Tie game, 5-5, under 5 to go. Final minute of play now. We're headed to overtime. Shots 32-28 into this extra frame here. 5 minutes down to 1 already. We're headed to a shootout. Shots end 34-32. And in the shootout, the Ducks take it as Marco scores, but then so does Zegras and Chubarov as we drop that one 6-5 in the shootout. We're letting in too many, boys. Okay, so I gotta check that out now concerning the possible breathing space in the cap now that Lundberg has been sent down. So I'm looking at this deal now with the Minnesota Wild, and all I need Minnesota to do is retain 0.025 to make this deal go through. To make it worth our while a little bit more, I think it would just be good to make it go to 0.250, just make it a bit more realistic, where you say, okay, let's make his cap hit down to 2.5 million. We said next year we'd have 7 point something to play with, so taking out 2.5 would not be a bad deal for Sidney Crosby, who currently has, I think 48 points I saw? 48 points in 52 games. Crazy stuff from the 41-year-old. And now we're, him and Sammy Blais, who are both on the block, we give them Bladder, the goalie prospect with only 1 year left. We wouldn't re-sign him anyways. There's no room for him. He's 23, 6th round pick, mediumly potential. Minnesota would love to have him. Vince Sloan, who it kills me to have to trade this guy, but he's 24 years old now. He's a 79, a former 2nd round pick who just never really got the right opportunity, never really blossomed at the right time. He had a really good year in 26-27 in the AHL, then took a down year in 27-28, 43 points and -13, and in the preseason in the NHL was okay, 3 points in 6 games +1, but then never really got a chance in the NHL because the injuries never lined up just right. And I feel bad, but I want to let him thrive somewhere, even if it's on a Western Conference team. So Bladder and Sloan to Minnesota for Blais and Crosby. I'll throw in a pick, and it's a much better deal than we were thinking about earlier. So Minnesota, you missed out big time on what we were willing to offer before. Can I just give you something like a 3rd round pick now, or even a couple of 4ths? If I gave you a couple of 4th-round picks with Bladder and Sloan, can you give me Crosby and Blais? What do you say to this? Still not fulfilling the need that you have. Let's turn it into a 3rd. This would be big for us. He fits the first line, so we could play him on the 1st if need be, but really it'd be full-time 4th line and power play. A 3rd-round pick, still not quite there. And a 5th. We have lots of picks in this draft, so let's go with our own 3rd, 4th, 5th. An elite goalie prospect, and Vince Sloan, who is a good defensive prospect. Just give him the chance. And you send us Sidney Crosby, a guy who you don't need right now. You're 21, 22, and 10. Just give him to us. Let us go win another Stanley Cup with him. What do you say? Isn't sufficient at all? What? That's crazy. The value is there. You want all the pieces we're giving you, except maybe Sloan, but it's not a big deal. And you want to give both those other pieces? That's crazy. I'll throw in a 3rd next year, I guess, then. A 3rd this year, a 3rd next year, and a 5th this year. We're not willing to accept it because of the retained salary. Come on, that's always such a killer, the retained salary. Even though it's almost nothing, and they can easily afford it. Let's go 2/3 and a 4th. Still rejected. Even if I try to make it go down, they're going to say just because it's salary, they're not going to want to do it. Just because, even 100K. Even if it's 0.025. Actually, they might do it 0.025. Let's go to 0.05 to get it to a $2.7 million cap hit. What do you say here? Just rejected because it's not enough. Okay. 0.025 retained. Rejected. And guess what happens if I go to 0 retained? We're over the salary cap. Come on, Minnesota. Come on, EA. A 2nd with Bladder and Sloan. A 2nd. They don't want to give up the money. I have to retain. It's not like I'm not being stubborn. I need them to retain salary or else the trade cannot happen. A 2nd and 2/4. Still rejected. A 2nd and 2/4 with a goalie prospect. Sloan. No. No. You know what, Minnesota? No. I will not play your games. You don't want free prospects or goalie of the future? No, you don't want them? Fine. Vatene, be gone. Out of my sight. Now, would it work for Hertl if we really stretch 50% now with that extra money from Kalle Lundberg? Alright, so this does work at 1.075 retained. Same deal, Bladder and Sloan, but this time we're not giving up picks. We get Thomas Hertl, who will slot him wherever he can fit, really. He'll be more of a winger. Maybe he takes Asher Maloney's spot. I don't know. We'll figure something out. He has 7 goals, 18 assists on a really bad San Jose team right now, 25 points, but he's usually good for like 50 to 60 points, it seems like. Really weird years. 65, 41, 81, 52. Very odd seasons from Thomas Hertl. But we'll try to make it happen. He's been on the Sharks his whole career. 35 years of age. He has played how many? 1,130 games with the Sharks. Just straight up, maybe I can even get a pick out of this. So you know what? I probably could get a late pick. Let's try a 6th and a 7th next year with Thomas Hertl for Bladder and Sloan. You get a great goalie prospect and a D-man that you can play right now and for your future. You're on a losing team. Thomas Hertl, are you coming to Seattle? Welcome to the team, Bello. I am happy to accept this proposal on behalf of the San Jose Sharks. We consider it a done deal. Crazy. Crosby wouldn't work, but Thomas Hertl, welcome to Seattle. He's not going to be a guy for us next year, most likely. Crosby could have stayed for one more year, but Hertl is likely just a rental. We take him a little bit earlier. We don't wait until the trade deadline. We get it done right now. That allows Vesa Heiskanen and Rajala to move out a little bit more. If we did want to keep Thomas Hertl, we're not going to sign him to an extension right now, but if it did work out to keep him in the system, where is he? If it did work out, he would want 4.4. We could probably get him for something around closer to 3.5, 3.25. But tough. Keep that in mind, but that's something to think about heading into the playoff episode. For right now, let's get him a spot in this lineup. Alright, so for now, Thomas Hertl will play on the second line left wing, giving that line a +2 with Matty Beniers and Chris Moss. Maloney, it's unfortunate, but he's going to go fourth line for the moment. He has a perfect fit on the line, so it's not the worst case. Plus, he's still getting special teams time on the second unit of the power play. Now, Hertl, I'm only playing him on the second line. No power play, no 4-on-4 power play, nothing. I want to see what he does with this line exclusively. If he does well, I'll start putting him in other places. If he starts to struggle, I might put Maloney back there, make him more of a fourth line guy, but then supplement it with the special teams. I'm not sure. I'm going to figure out something that will work for him. But for right now, let's just give him top 6 minutes. I'm sure he'll enjoy that. And we can keep simulating with that in the back of our head. So a huge trade for the Kraken. They won 3 cups in a row. They lost last year. They're coming off of a shootout loss against the team that eliminated them. They were feeling the pressure. GM Data got on the phone, worked the phones a little bit. Minnesota didn't want to hear anything, slammed the phone down, started dialing San Jose. Secretary, get me San Jose's number. Figured out a deal, hammered it out with the GM of the Sharks, and Tomas Hertl got on a plane straight to New York. We're at Islanders Arena, February 11th, 2029, looking for win number 34. Tomas Hertl making his Kraken debut from zero to hero, from the bottom of the NHL to one of the top teams in the Pacific, and Sprong opens up the scoring. First shot of the night. First period ends 1-0. Second period now, no scoring. Shots 24-20 in our favor, as it's only a slim 1-goal lead heading into the third. After 45 minutes, Kozlov makes it 2-0. 45 minutes into this game. A power play opportunity for the Islanders, but it's a shorthanded goal from Vitaly Popov, 3-0, and then Lume makes it 4. Maloney down on that fourth line helping, no doubt. Power play for the Islanders is killed off. 2 minutes left, final minute, and the Kraken shut out the Islanders. Shots 38-31, 4-0 the final in Hertl's debut. It's a 31-save shutout from Peyton Wilm, goal and an assist from Popov, goal from Sprong. How do you do? 4-0 Seattle. Let's get into the calendar simulation. Things are looking up. Let's jump ahead a couple of weeks here. We're playing Columbus this next game, but I want to go see them in a couple of weeks. We'll see if we can improve on whatever the result is right here in Columbus. We beat them 3-1. They're a very good team with a good record, so we'll take them on at home next time. 4-3 shootout loss to Philip Gustafson and the New Jersey Devils. In Tampa Bay now, another team with a very good record over in the East. They lose 3-1 with a nice, probably an empty net goal. That was the third, but at least it was by 2 goals. These tight 1-goal victories are getting difficult. And then a 1-goal loss, 1-0 shutout. Then another 1-goal win. Always by 1 or 2, maybe with the empty netter. As we get shut out against Florida, we beat the Penguins in a shootout, and then another 3-1 win there against the Senators. Okay, so we're 38-17-5. Going up against the 37-19-3 Blue Jackets, former team that we were in charge of in NHL 21. We had a great dynasty with Columbus. Let's see what Seattle can do against them. First period, 0-0. Second period, still 0-0. Shots 23-16 in our favor. Heading into this final 20 minutes now. 5 minutes in is the first goal coming there from Chris Moss. 4 minutes and 51 seconds into the third period. 1-0. We're closing in on 30 shots here. Power play Seattle now. And that one's killed off by Columbus. It's a slim margin. Columbus is going to be fighting hard. Shots 33-25 in our favor. Last 3 minutes. Final minute of play. And Tomas Hertl adds the empty netter. Possibly his first as a Kraken. Not sure, but 2-0 Seattle. I doubt it is. We get another shutout victory. And Peyton Wilm, 25 saves for the shutout. 32 saves from Aiden Hill, but not enough. Chris Moss with the game-winning goal. Nice win against a very difficult Eastern Conference opponent. So we'll keep on moving closer to the deadline here, another week or so. I don't think there's anything that we'll want to do, but as always, we got to do our due diligence to see how things are going in the points category, power play, penalty kill, all that stuff. Buffalo Sabres have a little finishing off the Eastern Conference 4-2 loss. Taking on Anaheim once again, we beat them 2-1 in the shootout after they beat us in the shootout, and then a 2-1 win against the Bruins. 41-18-5 is our record at the deadline. So Nathan MacKinnon's pace has really slowed down. He was on pace for over 120 points. Now he probably won't even crack 100. Still looking great, but even in the goals category, Marco catching up, and Moss has passed him for most goals on the team. So 74 points in 64 games for Nate the Great. Isaiah Marco 62 and 64. Beniers 57. Moss 47 with 28 goals. Asher Maloney doing very well still at the fourth line minutes. He has 43 points on the year. Vitaly Popov 42. Tuck with 40. That's a bit odd. Last year he had 87, so 40 and 64. Bit weird. He's averaging 19.5 minutes a night. Maybe it's because now he's on power play 2 instead of power play 1. Yeah, it does give him like 20 less points. Makes sense, but he's not averaging that much less ice time than usual. But maybe that's something to be said there. When he was playing over 21, he was playing his best. Chikrin 39, Sprong with 37, which puts him on a pace now of 47 points on the year. So he's slowed down from his pace of 52. Also a little bit scary. Tarasenko 34 and 64, just a monster. Hertl now, what has he done so far with this team on that second line? Let's see it. He has... Ooh, not as impressive as I thought. 2 points in 11 games. Only 2 penalty minutes. An even plus minus, but that's a bit odd. Averaging almost 14 and a half minutes a night. 2 points. That was his first goal. And that was it. They had the empty netter. So 1 assist in 11 games, not on an empty net. And Maloney's been doing very well, so maybe swap Hertl and Maloney, and maybe some power play time? I don't know. That's odd. Barrett 22, Lume 21, Bergenheim 17, Tiny Morrison 13 with a +8, Kozlov 12 with a +21, Yurchek 11 with a +19, Evans 7 with a +14 in 55 games. Goaltending now has been quite solid. Wilm has improved his numbers by quite a bit. 31, 14, and 4 with 7 shutouts. Maybe that's a new Kraken record. 916 save percentage and 2.34 goals against average. Very, very nice to see Peyton Hollywood Wilm getting back to his best form, really, which we've seen in flashes, but it's always been interrupted by injuries. So Thomas Hertl, he's still good. An even plus minus, we've been winning games. It's not a huge issue. It's just I gotta see more from him. So I'm gonna swap him and Maloney, and I'll try putting Hertl on the power play, because maybe just that second line's better with Maloney, but Hertl on the second power play unit. Maybe that'll take away the -2 as well. With his X factors, it gives it a -1 now. Okay, not the end of the world. So let's try that. Maybe that'll spark something for both players. Maloney has 43 points. So keep note of that as well. Sprong with Popov and Tarasenko. They've been doing well, but Sprong's dropped off. Okay, noted. All of that's noted. Let's keep moving forward as we can check out the team statistics. So through 64 games, we are atop the Pacific Division, but Edmonton does have 2 games in hand over us. We're the second best team in the NHL, but Toronto 3 games in hand. Let's see, power play here, and by the way, goals for and against, 3.3 a game, 2.55 against. Power play at 21% is third best in the NHL, and penalty kill of 85.7 is among the best as well. So the special teams have been doing it. No need to touch anything really. Defense on the second unit of power play with Thomas Hertl. I don't think that really makes a big difference. So that's why I'm okay with making that change, but everything else can just stay as is. We don't want to make any changes here at the trade deadline, excuse me. I think we're happy to continue simulating. So we'll see what moves were made around the NHL. All right, from the beginning of the day now. So the Kings acquire Bo Horvat, top 50 from the Canucks for a package. Interesting. Trouba, Pelletier, and this guy Mitchell going to the Islanders for a prospect. Oldrich Krejci. Interesting. Jonathan Drouin and Jake McCabe going from Vegas to Boston. Robbie Fabry going from Washington to Ottawa. Rupe Hintz going from Dallas to Carolina. Mackenzie Weegar and Anthony Duclair going from Washington to Columbus. Interesting there. John Marino, Warren Fogle going to Edmonton. Sanheim to Boston. Jordan Binnington and Pix going from San Jose to Anaheim. Interesting. So I guess they're going to go Binnington and Gibson between the pipes. Johnny Gaudreau going from Pittsburgh to Ottawa. Wow, that's a splash right there. The Sharks offload Evander Kane to the St. Louis Blues. They get some pieces back, including Tom Wilson, I think. Bowen Byram going to St. Louis as well. Wow, they're loading up. Brendan Gallagher going from Vegas to LA, excuse me. And then more Pixman Kerfoot, and there we go. So wow, quite the trade deadline here in 2029. We'll keep on simulating with 20 or so games for most of the teams left in the NHL. Let's get some calendar simulation. Let's go see our Pacific rivals, the Edmonton Oilers. I'd like to see that game with a couple of changes they made. We played them 3 times in about a week and a half. 3-2 win against the Blackhawks, 4-3 loss against Dallas, more of these 1-goal games, 5-4 overtime loss against the Avalanche, 2-1 loss against the Predators. I got to do at the end of the season how many games were decided by 1 goal, and another 2-1 loss, back-to-back 2-1 losses against Nashville. Here the Oilers were 42-21-6. They're 40-22-6. Huge implications for playoffs and who's going to win the division right here in these 3 games. Pretty much going to be decided by these 3 games, I would think. First period, 1-0, Nathan MacKinnon, thank you very much. Second period, 2-0, Nathan MacKinnon once more on the power play. Just needs a shorthanded goal to make it the natural even strength power play and shorthanded. That would be one of each. 32-20 are the shots. 2-0 Kraken through about 50 minutes of play. 7 minutes left now. We're just destroying Edmonton in the offensively, I would say. Kurnkovic scoring with just a couple minutes left. Do they have any fight in them in the final 30 seconds? Not enough. That was close. 38-25 are the shots in the end, and it's another 1-goal victory. McKinnon first star with 2 goals. Will making 24 saves. Allmark 36, but not enough as Seattle get the 2 points, and we can keep on simulating to the next game. I'll sim through the next one against Edmonton. We'll go see the third one. So we'll sim through the game in Edmonton, as well as the games against Winnipeg and LA there. Edmonton Oilers, 3-2 loss. And a concussion for Popov. That'll keep him out for about 3 weeks. Eesh. What's up with Hertl? Let me see. What is up with Hertl? Has he done anything? Power play and fourth line minutes now. So 3 points in 8 games on the fourth line, plus a power play point for 4 points in 8 games since we made those changes. Okay, so Hertl actually, 82 faceoffs. Yeah, Hertl will go third line, and then it kills the third line. I guess Bergenheim. You know what? No, I'm going to keep him there. If it's a big problem, we're going to fix it. But let's try it. Sprong, Hertl, Tarasenko. Unless... Maloney's been good. Since we moved him back, he's only gotten 1 assist. Yeah, you know, okay. Maloney, Hertl, Tarasenko, Sprong, Beniers, Moss. Fourth line, we can bring in Heiskanen with Bergenheim and Lume. Alright, so Hertl's going to be getting a lot of ice time now as he's filling in for Popov in a lot of places. So looking forward to seeing what he can really bring. You gave him some time to get into the groove of things here in Seattle, but now's the time where we need him to step up and show us why we traded for him. So, huge 8-1 win against the Jets there. We don't play the Sharks until still a little bit. I'm waiting for that game. So let's just keep on simulating, and yeah, to that game against Edmonton that we were waiting for. LA Kings now, we're at home to take them on, looking for win number 45 perhaps. They're barely 500. They beat us by 1, 4-3. Here we go. The Oilers are 42-24-6. We're 44-23-6. Another huge game for the Pacific Division standings. Here we go. First period, 1-0 Passy Lume on Samuel Montembeault. Second period, 2-1. Draisaitl ties it up. Then Vladimir Tarasenko puts us back up. 26-21 are the shots for Edmonton, but we're leading by 1 here in this third and final period. 5 minutes in, Clark. Not sure who that is, actually. Maybe Brant Clark's brother, Grant Clark? Haha. But then Draisaitl is upset by my joke that I made, and now he makes it 3-2 Edmonton. But Chris Moss says, I love comedy. That was a great joke. This game's tied at 3 with under 5 to go. Shots 34-29, 34-30, and Asher Maloney promoted from the fourth line back into the top 9. He's on the third line. Bang! 4-3 with 1 minute and 4 seconds left in this one. He gets the GWG, and we win it 4-3 the final. First star honors to Asher. A goal and assist from Tarasenko as well, but once again, a 1-goal game. Anything from Tomas Hertl in this one? Not seeing his name anywhere. Please don't be a minus. What am I doing? He was at the top of the list. 2 assists and a +2. Let's go, Tomas. All right. All right. There we go. Big win, number 45 on the year. Let's keep on going into the last little stretch here. We'll go see the game against the Sharks, and then we can think about calling it a season as things get tight in the Pacific Division and you start wrapping it up. The Jets, we beat them 8-1. A week later, they beat us 5-2. Calgary Flames, now in Calgary, we shut them out, I think, last time we played, right? Was it 5-0 or 6-0? This time, what happened? Woo, we shut them out again, 8-0! But then we ourselves get shut out 2-0 against the Avalanche. Sheesh, can we get to 50 wins? We need 4 of our last 5 to get to 50. Dallas, what? 9-1 win against the Stars. Anaheim Ducks, let's go. Let's go, 7-2, the scoring's coming through. Tomas Hertl up against his old team. Let's see it. We need 2 of our last 3 games to be wins to hit 50. Let's go, boys. Great way to end off the year. High-scoring affairs. That's what we like. First period, 1-0 Isaiah Marco. Second period, 2-1 Pinelli and Burmistrov, scoring 2 goals in just about 4 minutes apart from each other. Shots are pretty even, but the Sharks are up by 1 headed into the third period. We need 1 late. Maybe a power play goal from Hertl. That would be something. This is a not good Sharks team. But Chris Moss, there we go. 2-2 game. He must be leading the team in goals. What an absolute tank out there. 4 minutes left. Power play late for the Sharks. We kill it off. We're headed to overtime. Shots 28-23 for San Jose. They've been keeping us at bay. But overtime now. Can we get anything in some 3-on-3 action? Final minute. No, we're headed for the shootout. And in the shootout, we take it. Marco, McKinnon, and Tuck. 3 goals. Destroying the Sharks in the shootout. 3-2 the final. Will making 30 saves for first star honors. Marco and Moss with goals of their own for second and third stars. So now all we need is 1 win in our last 2 games. We're on a little bit of a streak now with 3 in a row. And if you take out the game against the Avalanche, that's what? Then we had that loss. Okay, so 4 of our last 5. That's all right. But high-scoring games, we had an 8-1 win, 8-0 win, 9-1, 7-2. Now we're taking on Vegas and then ending off the year against Calgary. Can we get win number 50 against the Vegas Golden Knights? We've already clinched the conference. What a year here for the Kraken, even though it's been tight games. Popov is fully healed. That's good. It was a 4-1 loss there, so we need the win against Calgary to get 50. Let's fix up the lineup. I know it's premature to check out the points, but I just want to see Tomas Hertl since we put him in this new role. He ended up having, let's see, 13 points in 28 games. Hasn't been anything too crazy, but you know what? He's a +5. He's playing almost 13 minutes a night. He's 35 years of age. I'm pretty content. We can think about what we're going to do with him, if anything, in terms of line position and all that in the comments going into next episode. But let's get Popov back into the lineup. All right, lineup is back and good to go. Full health, full strength, looking for this 50th win against the Calgary Flames. They're 36, 37, and 8. They're looking to play spoiler as we want 50 after that tough 4-1 loss against Vegas. Let's do it. Let's do it. First period, early power play. It was a power play goal from Asher Maloney. I decided to keep on the power play. It was a tough decision between him and Hertl now that Popov's back, but I kept him, and he showed me why. Power play goal from Maloney. Marco even strength. Danielson brings Calgary within 1, but then Marco even strength again restores our 2-goal lead, 3-1 after 20. Second period, 3-1 it remains. Shots 24-19 in our favor. We're up by 2, but Severson quickly makes it a 1-goal game as he scores 28 seconds in. Power play Calgary, and Brathwaite scores just as the power play expires. Power play Seattle now, killed off by the Flames. It's a 3-3 game. Power play Calgary, halfway through this period, killed off by Seattle. Even strength, even score, 6 minutes to go, and Fagemo makes it 4-3. And Calgary up by 1 late, a minute to go, and that's it. We can't hit 50, but that's all right. It's a 49-win season, and we get the division and the conference. 2 goals from Isaiah Marco, and Calgary wins it by 1. I'm going to go back through all 82 games. I want to see how many games were decided by 1 goal, and in those 1-goal games, what was our record. So let me count those. So out of 82 games, 38 of them were decided by 1 goal, either in regulation, overtime, or a shootout. And our record in games that were decided by 1 goal was 20, 12, and 6. 20 wins by 1 goal, 12 losses by 1 goal, and 6 overtime or shootout losses, obviously, as we see in our record of 49, 27, and 6. So 20, 12, and 6. 38 games that were decided by just 1 goal. So as we see, of course, Nathan McKinnon leading our team in points. Was it enough for the Art Ross? I don't know. He slowed down. But let's check out the team performance first. Luckily, Edmonton was struggling a little bit as well because we beat them just by 1 point to keep the Pacific Division. NHL going to the Toronto Maple Leafs with 122 points and 60 wins. So third place in the NHL for the Kraken, best in the Pacific and best in the West. 3.34 goals for, 2.56 goals against per game. Power play ended at an even 20%, 1 for 5. That puts us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th best, or actually I guess 5th since Boston and Buffalo are tied in the NHL. And penalty kill ended at 87.2%, very impressive. So that would put us third because tied for third, so 4th, as Arizona and Toronto are tied. So 4th best penalty kill in the NHL. Special teams did very well this season. Now in the scoring, here we go. Nathan McKinnon, a 95-point season. He had his last 3 were 100 or more, right? Yeah, so he loses that streak of 100 or more. Technically, it's his second worst season as a Kraken, but it still has 34 goals, 61 assists a year, 95 points. If that's second worst, then I have no problem with that. Another gentlemanly-like season, only 23 penalty minutes. Took a lot of shots, 24 power play points. He had 4 shorthanded points. Playing a little less ice time than usual. Like 40 seconds less than last season. Solid on the draws. Just looking a bit deeper at the McKinnon stats. Great year from Nate the Great. Not as much of a goal scorer, but still a fantastic playmaker. Isaiah Marco came through in the goal scoring this year as he led the team in goals with 40, tying his total from last season, but not his career high of 44. 85-point season, another very solid campaign from him. Not quite 94 like last year, but I don't know, scoring was down a little bit in the NHL, I suppose. Isaiah Marco looking good. Matty Beniers, another solid season in support. He's 26 years of age now, a 72-point season, solid improvement on last year's 65 and -12. This year a plus 13, very happy to see that. Less power play points even as well, and still 72 on the year. So well done from Matty Beniers. Chris Moss, 32 goals and 58 points. Not getting as many points as last year. He was on pace for 70 at one point, but he ended up slowing down a little bit and stopping at 58. Still 32 goals, a plus 10, 5 power play goals. Not as much as last year, but again, like I said, scoring seems to be down a little bit. He played 16 and 46 per night. He's continuing to take on more responsibility, and only 4 penalty minutes. Give him the Lady Bing. Alex Tuch definitely slowed down from last year. 54 points for him after he scored 87 last year. He had 10 power play points, so even if you gave him 16 extra power play points to get as many as he did last year, that still would be 70, and 17 less than 87. Still a solid year, as I'm saying, for a lot of these guys, but for first line, for power play, all that, playing 19 and a half minutes a night, would have thought a little bit more from Alex Tuch, especially at an 89 overall now, but it's still solid enough, and we'll keep that in mind moving forward because he may be challenged by guys like Chris Moss for lineup positioning. Asher Maloney had a very impressive 51-point season. His rookie year was 49. His sophomore season, 15 goals, less assists but more goals, 51 points, and a plus 12. Not even as much power play for the power play points, and he still got more than last season. So well done to Asher Maloney. Jacob Chychrun, 49 points and a plus 13. He's really been finding his offensive flair since coming to Seattle, as he was stuck in the 20s and 30s on the Coyotes. A new season high as a Kraken, and is even as a career, yes, new career high in points at 49. Well done. Vladimir Tarasenko, he still got it. 48 points and 22 goals from him. Of course, down from his 60 points from last season, but he's slowing down now. Less ice time, lower overall. I'm very happy with him being able to still put up 20 plus goals and some 50 some points. Sprong slowed down on his 52-point pace. He ended up stopping at 45 points. Disappointing for $7.5 million. Doubt that he's back next season, but you know, if he could just wake up in the playoffs a little bit, it would be much appreciated. Vitaly Popov, 45 points in 71 games. A bit of a slower pace than last year. Yeah, he had 52 in 82. So this year is a pace of actually 52 again, 51.97. So he was on pace to do the same as last season, with just a couple more goals as well and many less power play points. So I'm seeing a lot less power play points, a lot more regulation points, and as well more points being distributed to everybody quite evenly. Tomas Hertl, in the 29 games he played for us, ended up scoring 13 points. Not too shabby. Let's see, his pace on San Jose was a 39-point season, and his pace with us was a 37-point season, and much less ice time, right? Yeah, a couple minutes less. So I'm okay with that. In the playoffs, hopefully he turns on the Jets a little bit. Maybe we play around with the lineup. He's been what we've looked for. We weren't expecting him to turn into the 80-point guy that he was, but for what we expected and where we played him, I'm okay with what Tomas Hertl has given us and for the cost that it took as well. Pasi Lume, 28 points in his sophomore season. He had 36 in his rookie year, 21 goals. So definitely slowed down in that regard. He didn't have as much ice time as last season as well, playing almost a minute less than last year. So you got to take that into consideration as well. I'd like him to be a third-line guy next year. If everyone can just bump up one spot, maybe with Sprong being gone, that means something for Lume. But I really want to grow him. He's an 83 overall. He has the potential to do it. He has good shooting. He has good offensive awareness, solid defense as well for a sniper. He could do it. I'd like to see that. Ethan Bear, 27 points and 16 and a plus 16 in 82 games, a very consistent defenseman through and through, very rarely misses games. It's his highest scoring season since 2024-25. Ice time has gone down a little bit, I suppose. Yeah, because not as much special teams with the power play. But he got penalty minutes, penalty kill, and he had 3 shorthanded points. Is he worth the $6.5 million? I don't know. We'll see what he's asking for right now, but he's just a consistent guy. He's a leader. He's been here for a long time. Always happy to see Ethan Bear doing well. Rickard Bergenheim, a slower sophomore season, 31 in his rookie year, only 23 here in the sophomore season. No power play time, which is likely what hurt it a little bit, but he still had shorthanded time. He had 4 shorthanded points. And even 6 more seconds on the ice than last season. So would have liked to see a little bit more from Rickard Bergenheim, another guy who will want third-line minutes next year. David Jiricek, 18 points and a plus 26. The guy was playing a lot of ice time. If he's going to grow, it has to be now. He's 25. He just had a 23-plus minutes season. He's never played more ice time in his entire career. Plus 26. He had 70 penalty minutes. He was all over the place. He was a huge guy for us. We let Keandre Miller go to take David Jiricek. I hope that he can show us that it was worth it by giving us some growth now, especially moving into a contract year. Tiny Morrison, another guy who had a sophomore season, 17 points, exact same as last year, 6 goals, 11 assists, but this time a plus 13 instead of a negative 3. Only 5 penalty minutes instead of 15. Less power play points as he had less power play time. He had 10 less seconds on the ice, but a good sophomore year from the 6'4", 22-year-old. Kozlov, 15 points and a plus 22. He is so consistent as well. Less points than last year, but now a plus 22. He is a plus 63 in his career. 2 of his 6 goals were game winners. He had 19 and a half minutes a night, so that was a big improvement there. He was playing 13:37 last year, 19:36 this year. 6 more minutes a night. This is another guy. You have to grow. You get this much ice time. You have this potential. You have to grow, or else I'm looking at elsewhere. Doesn't make sense here in EA land. Riker Evans, 10 points and a plus 17 in his rookie season through 73 games. Heiskanen had 7 points and was a negative 6 in 40. Peyton Hollywood Wilm, let's see it. 38, 20, and 5. 8 shutouts, a 915 save percentage, and 2.37 goals against. Malik fell apart a little bit. 11, 8, and 1. 1 shutout's nice, but 899 save percentage and 2.84 goals against. Yeah, he's cheap. He's 82 overall. I just want him to get a little bit better than that, so hopefully he can continue to grow. He has medium starter potential. 82, even if he doesn't grow overall, just growing his attributes a little bit, that would be very helpful. The reflexes is likely what's hurting him a little bit there with the stick high, stick low. And that's just about it. So let's check out the entire NHL now. Does Nathan MacKinnon win the Art Ross with only 95 points? No, it's Austin Matthews with 61 goals and 108 points, winning the Rocket Richard and the Art Ross. Yes, so Klimchuk with 53, Line 52. No one really coming too close to Austin Matthews. Jack Hughes. So here's a guy that I added some X factors to, who was a 91 overall with 99s all over the board, but no X factors. I give him one, and maybe it's because he jumped to a new team, but now he scores his first 100-point season of his career, so that's why it's important to adjust the X factors around the NHL for what's going on. Eichel 101 points over on Buffalo. McDavid 99. Klimchuk, Svitov, some generated guys. McKinnon down there at 95. Defensemen around the NHL. 73 points from Quinn Hughes. Jake Sanderson over on the Senators. Wow, 65-point season from him. Travis Dermott 62. Owen Power 58. That's cool. Goaltenders around the NHL. Leading the league in wins was Jonas Korpisalo with 45 wins. Blackwood 41. Allmark, Peterson, Knight, Demko down the list there. Checking, let's say minimum 40 games played. Looking at save percentage, best goalie in the NHL, probably Spencer Knight, 40 wins, 921 save percentage, and 2.45 against. Very, very nice numbers from Spencer Knight, who will likely win himself the Vezina. Rookie skaters around the NHL, it is Stefan Jensen and Rudolf Dinger, who both had 49 points. Jensen, a 4th overall pick, and Dinger, a 20th overall pick. Interesting. Both with 49 points. Recchi with 46. None of our guys up there. Rookie goalies, perhaps. No rookie goalies. Some players that we just want to quickly take a look at. Let me know if there's any others that you want to see. But I want to see Philip Gustafson over on the New Jersey Devils. He is still getting paid. 12.225 is now an 84 overall. He won 27, 22, and 4. 4 shutouts. 909 save percentage. 2.91 against. Meh. Let's go check out Keandre Miller if he's still in the Minnesota Wild, which I believe he is. Yes, 24 points and a negative 25. The poor guy. But he's getting paid well. And we can't forget Vince Sloan, who got sent down to the AHL in San Jose, playing with the Barracuda, scored 14 points and was a negative 11 through 29 games down in the AHL. Hopefully get some NHL opportunities next year. Kobasu currently leading our team in points with 54 and 82. We missed the playoffs by a long shot, going 36, 39, and 7. First time in a long time that my AHL team doesn't make it, but we weren't really going for much. We're going for more of a growth season than a season of anything crazy, like Tikhonov as our first-line center. But we'll look at growth after the playoffs. For right now, we can just start simming forward to see who our opponent will be in round number 1. And in the playoffs, we'll be facing the Dallas Stars. All right, so Dallas went 44, 31, and 7. And in their lineup, they have, interesting here, John Tavares, 81 overall first line. Questionable center depth. Questionable right wing as well. Defense, very suspect, aside from Miro Heiskanen. And goaltending, Stuart Skinner. Okay, well, they had 40-some wins. They're Jake DeBrusk, healthy scratch. They're here for a reason, so don't underestimate them. They look like a weird team on paper, but we'll be taking them on in round number 1 of our bid for a 4th cup in 5 years. Here are the other playoff matchups in the East, and here are the matchups over in the West, if you're curious. So those, Edmonton and Anaheim, definitely going to be a good series over there. As we close off the episode here, any suggestions you may have about the lineup would be very much appreciated down here on YouTube or over in the Discord server. Make sure to keep in mind the possibility for some extensions as well. We can offer them next episode or continue to wait a little bit more. Ethan Bear's demand has not dropped, still similar to before. Hertl's demand, I would suspect it's still around the same, yes. Vitaly Popov still around the same, yeah, okay, down to 6.9. So we could sign him for something like 4 years at 5.875, something like that. So keep that in mind. He's our future second line center. Benier's likely to the wing next year. Probably going to go Beniers, Popov, Moss next season. So that wouldn't be horrible. Would not be horrible. And checking for any new single season records here in 2020. Yes, a few. So new record for most penalty minutes in a season to Vitaly Popov. Really, 72 penalty minutes. And new record for shutouts, Peyton Wilm getting 8 of those. All the other records still stand, but new franchise leaders in shutouts and penalty minutes for a single season. And that just about does it, my friends. So heading into next episode, the playoffs, be sure to leave your thoughts about lineup, special teams, anything else you may have your thoughts on into this postseason. Does Sprong, Maloney, Hertl, maybe they move around a little bit? Defense, do they move around a little bit? Keep in mind that with the AHL playoffs over, we could also consider calling up guys like Kobasu or Lundberg. Even Tikhonov, who's grown to a 79 overall. 2 years ago, we got him at a 65. He's already a 79. So all those are possibilities. Rayala's down there as well. And I think that just about does it. So thank you for taking time to watch. As I said, comments in here on YouTube or on the Discord server would be very much appreciated to get you involved in the series, interact with the other assistant general managers, and try to get your name on that Stanley Cup there with us. If you enjoyed this second half of the season, be sure to leave a like and do consider subscribing as well if you are new to the channel. Be sure, take a couple minutes to look around. We do NHL 22, FIFA 22, and podcast type videos related to hockey and much, much more. So we would love to have you part of this channel. It'll be that much better with you on board. All that being said, thank you so much once again for taking the time to watch, and I look forward to seeing you again in the next one, where we will be fighting for a 4th Stanley Cup in franchise history in the 2029 postseason.